Guys, for the second straight week, the Baylor Bears will face an undefeated nationally ranked team in Big 12 play. And this week, of course, it is the Iowa State Cyclones. Iowa State moved up to be the Big 12's highest ranked team at number 16 after Utah lost at home to Arizona. A little bit of a surprise there. Um, what do you guys think? And Rob, obviously, you see this team regularly. Is this Iowa State team equipped to get back to the Big 12 championship game for the first time since 2020? And is Baylor anything more than a speed bump along that path?
Yeah, I'll take the second question first. I think the way Iowa State plays, which Coach Aranda alluded to in his press conference this week, where defensively they want to, quote, I think, slowly choke you out or choke you out slowly, unquote, and offensively ball control. That's sort of true, but Iowa State's flipped the script a little bit there. They will attack vertically with regularity if teams load the box. And last season, teams had a great deal of success loading the box. I mean, the Cyclones were early, went over 200 yards rushing, and when they did late in the season twice, they sandwiched a game with 9 rushing yards in between
Mm.
200. So they were just so erratic. Now the running game, two straight 200 plus yard rushing games for the first time since they went three in a row behind a guy named Brice Hall in 2021. Um, so they're finding consistency there, but Jalen Knowles averaging almost 20 yards a catch. He came out of the last win at Houston last weekend with cramps. He's fine. Jaden Higgins is kind of that proverbial security blanket. He had 8 catches, touchdown last week. First Cyclone to record touchdown catch in 6 straight games. So they've got the talent to. I didn't reverse it actually.
That's
They've
all
got
right.
the talent. They've got the talent to do it just because of the experience. They were one of the youngest teams last season, but they brought back the most production according to ESPN's Bill Conley, and that's showing up. I mean, and that's not always pretty, and that's how it is at Iowa State. You know, up 3-0 against a very outmanned, I'd say at this point, Houston team, but that has a decent defense, and it showed. Um, so they're equipped for it. Now, will they do it? I mean, they were equipped for it in 2021 when Brock Purdy came back and he had all those guys that are in the NFL now, and they started a trend of losing a ton of close games, which carried into, of course, the next season where they lost 6 one-score games en route to a 4-8 record. So yes, they can do it. I think Baylor's more than a speed bump. I'm impressed with Sawyer Robertson, what he's been able to do. I don't know if you guys you know better than me, but as good of a runner as he is, has he showed that much before? I mean, he seems to have the canniness you need in a play caller. Although I saw his most productive game last week in terms of yards and touchdown pass. He also had 2 picks and
Mhm.
took sacks. So you know that'll happen. His first 2 picks of the year, it looks like. I just feel like Baylor's always got dudes, and I see that defensively. Uh, I see it particularly offensively, although it hasn't shown up in the run game. I look at guys like Hal Presley and Baldwin and I mean Coleman's the leading receiver, but he's only a junior. I mean, you got a lot of senior leadership there, and it feels obviously it's a hugely important season with with Aranda coaching status, after a really disappointing 2023. But I think Baylor's got the dudes to certainly keep this game interesting, despite Vegas, what it opened at 13 and a half. I don't know what it is now, but
I think
probably,
I saw 11 and a half, maybe, or
oh, so it's coming down. Yep, yep. I think it'll be an entertaining game and probably a little bit more tense than Cyclone fans may expect or would like.
yeah. Zach?
Everything in my body is telling me to like pick Baylor to win this game. I think this is a spot where Baylor, you know, they have the dudes, and I believe Coach Aranda and Sawyer Robertson and Hal Presley when they say like we know there's talent here, right? Like they have the ability to win games, and I was listening to one of the national reporters podcasts, and they were putting Baylor on quit watch after that BYU game, and I completely disagree with that because I think that Baylor does have the kind of the horses to keep up with the best teams in the Big 12. Now, going to Iowa State to, a team like Iowa State that has so many good pieces and is built in a very specific way that can just kind of like sit on you. Like this is not the best spot for a get back game. And but so I still think it's going to be a close game. I think Baylor's going to I would pick Baylor to cover, but I'm still going to pick um, Iowa State to win until Baylor can put together four quarters. I think Matt Campbell made a comment that Baylor is the best second half team in the Big 12, and the
Yeah,
stats
but
bear that.
big friggin' deal when you're giving up 31 in the first half.
But would you be surprised if I told you Baylor has outscored its opponents in the first half this year as well?
Wow. Well,
Take away, but I mean, if you take away FCS opponents, they've been outscored by 20 points or so. So, yes, that is take it with a grain of salt. But, you know, uh, I love the way Matt Campbell has built his team and way he continues to build teams, finding those diamonds in the rough and kind of coaching them up to, it reminds me a lot about what Mark D'Antonio did with Michigan State. I think that's why I like him. So, yes, Iowa State is a team built back to get back to the Big 12 championship. And I think Baylor can be a speed bump. Now, will they be? We have yet to see them put together four quarters. If they can put together four quarters, then they will be a speed bump.
well, that's the key, and I just I'm gonna have to see it before I believe it. You know what I mean? Like at this point, prove it to me, Baylor. I mean, I haven't seen you put together four quarters against a good team. So I'm picking Iowa State and maybe even to cover. You guys will take the close game. I'll take the blowout.